So one of the more interesting announcements for the Nintendo Switch 2 was Kirby Air Riders because, like, I'm an old man. And as an old man, I had a GameCube back in the day. And on the GameCube, there was a game called Kirby Air Ride. I rented that game, I played it for a weekend, and I was like, no thank you. I will not be purchasing this game. I don't really like this game all that much. And that was kind of the sentiment at the time. You know, you look at reviews from that time period, they were very mediocre at best. So to see Kirby Air Riders, a sequel to Kirby Air Ride, was kind of surprising. And that definitely seemed like a one and done game. But now it's getting new life on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I mean, there's been a ton of coverage of it. 2 Nintendo Directs, multiple play tests of it, and I didn't do any of those. I didn't watch those. I didn't do the play test because I wanted to give this game an honest chance. As someone who did not like Kirby Air Ride, I figured I wouldn't like Kirby Air Riders, but I didn't want to learn everything about it. I wanted to figure it out on my own, experience the game, and most importantly, see if the game could change my mind. Is Kirby Air Riders a game that I am enjoying? That's what we're going to talk about in this video today. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're new. And without any further ado, let's just hop straight into it. So Kirby Air Riders is broken up into multiple gameplay segments. Of course, there is the Air Ride, which is the racing portion of this game. And it's funny because people tell me this is not a racing game. Because I talk about it kind of as a racing game. They're like, no, it's not a racing game. But like, I mean, this is racing. Clearly, this is pod racing, if you will. The control scheme for the game is very interesting. The B button does a lot of the lifting here. You actually don't have a button to make your vehicle go forward or anything like that. It just goes forward on its own. You can hold down the B button to do a charge, which makes you come to a stop. You can hit the B button in order to suck up enemies. You can hit the B button in order to use projectiles that you suck up from the enemies. They did improve that over the original game because originally it was only Kirby that could suck up because, I mean, Kirby is the throat coat after all. But that was definitely a welcome improvement into it. But I feel like the B button does like way too much lifting in this because there have been times where I've wanted to suck up an enemy, but I wasn't quite within the range, so I end up coming to a bit of a stop because it's the same button. Now, you also get a special attack that is the Y button that you can hit, and it does some damage to enemies around you and stuff like that when the meter builds up, so at least they use a different button for that. Hitting the analog stick left and right will cause you to do a little spin move. You can use that to hit enemies to get a speed boost. You can use it to hit other racers on the course to get them out of your way. I mean, I just don't think the racing is very well done. You know, it feels very limited. You're constantly hitting into the sides of the walls all the time. There are literally achievements in the game for not hitting the sides of the walls, like, because they expect you to do that. So, you know, it's kind of like, it's just not very fun to me. I don't think it's very well done. Maybe some people will enjoy it, but as someone who plays a lot of racing games and enjoys a lot of racing games, the racing portion, Air Ride, was not for me. But there's also Top Ride, which is a top-down perspective that has the same core fundamentals, but is a little bit different. And I actually kind of like this mode. You know, this mode wasn't bad at all. Obviously, it's very inspired by some of the older racing games, the NES and Super NES era and arcade era of like Ivan, Iron Man, Stewart, and, you know, games of that ilk. You still have the abilities, you still have the copy abilities and the power-ups that you can use, but I think it controls better because you can actually make it to where you point is where the vehicle goes instead of having to do a direction based on the course itself. And that's the control scheme that I use for this. And like, I'm really good at this. Like, I'm pretty much a beast at this. You can see here, I'm straight up lapping people in this race here. Like, don't mess with me. I know what I'm doing. I think this is pretty fun, though. You know, a limited amount of courses. There's a limited amount of normal courses as well, but you do unlock more because you're constantly unlocking stuff in this game. It's like a core fundamental is like just playing the game and unlocking stuff because it's kind of a lot like Super Smash Brothers in that regard. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as this video goes along. But it definitely has that feeling of every time you do a race, every time you do anything in the game, you're going to unlock more stuff. whether it's stuff that you get for your license to customize things, new characters, new courses. You're constantly unlocking stuff, which is kind of a nice thing, but there is a little bit of a downside to it. Now, this is the road trip mode, which kind of takes every form of gameplay that the game has to offer and puts it into like a pseudo story mode. And you're constantly doing things that you would do in these normal modes, but you're doing them kind of in a pick your choose your own adventure style thing. You basically start out on the road, you go down the road, you pick which thing you want to do, and then you do the thing. They're nice bite-sized little events. It's not like you're doing like full-on like races and stuff like that. You're just doing sort of little smaller portions of the game into one sort of thing. You level up your character as well. There's boss battles and boss fights. You get different vehicles that you can use during this. It's okay, you know, it's all right. I enjoyed it a little bit at the start, but as time went on, I don't know, it just kind of became a little bit tedious because some of the things like the boss battles when they're like a one-on-one fight, like it feels like you're constantly fighting the controls. But this mode, it's okay. You know, you can have some fun with it. I like the variety that it offers you. You level up your character as well as you're going through it. So you do things kind of on a different level and it makes it feel a bit different. You could swap out vehicles on here as well, kind of on the fly. If you find a vehicle, you can use that or you could go back to the one you want. And some of the missions themselves are kind of fun. You know, I like this little rail grinding mission that comes up sometimes. Pretty fun stuff, you know, nothing crazy or anything like that. It kind of does make, you know, the visuals of the game shine a bit. I do think the game looks pretty pleasant for the most part. Nothing spectacular or anything like that. But you get a nice smooth 60 frames per second frame rate. There's lots of visual effects that happen when you're doing different things on it. The road trip mode, it's not bad. You know, it's kind of fun. It's nice little bite-sized stuff, so it doesn't really overstay its welcome. I just wish that like some of the one-on-one boss battles and stuff like that weren't quite as, I don't know, they just feel very weird. And like some of the times in order to finish the boss battle, like they would just get stuck and I would just do like little spin moves into them and then there we go. Like I am good to go. But not a bad mode, not a bad mode overall, but the final mode was definitely the surprise for me and is, I think, the best mode that the game has to offer, and that is the city trial mode, because this was touted by people as being great on the original GameCube, and I didn't really remember it, so I wanted to check it out. Now, I'm actually playing this online on Nintendo Switch 2 online or whatever, because I felt like that was kind of what this is supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to play this mode online. So this mode is interesting. They throw you into the city. You have 5 minutes. Within those 5 minutes, there are constantly events happening and stuff like that. And basically what you are trying to do is pick up as many power-ups as you can, because at the end of the 5 minutes, you're going to be able to pick and choose an event in order to compete with other people online, which you want to win that event. There's blocks to destroy. There's all sorts of craziness happening. You can switch vehicles that are on the level. You can take out your opposition that is on the level as well in order to give them a bad time. And it's kind of fun. You know, this actually is the most enjoyable thing for me. I thought this actually brought me some fun. I was somewhat enjoying my time with this mode. And I like the fact that there's all these random events that happen as you're playing, because it keeps things kind of fresh, because the level itself is not very big. Like the city itself is not very big. Like you could pretty much go from end to end in like a couple seconds, really. And this is the only city within the game. So, you know, you're not going to be seeing a different city or a different style of city every time you play City Trial. It's always going to be the same. It's just the randomization comes from the events and the power-ups where they are scattered about and stuff like that. But this was fun. You know, it's fun to play it online. There is a bit of a ranking system as well. You can customize your license and stuff. And you know, this is where things kind of get interesting with me, because I want to talk about some of the things I don't really care for with this game. And it might rub some people the wrong way, but I mean, I'll be honest, I don't really care. Here's one of the problems with this game, is that Kirby Air Riders tries to be like Smash Brothers. The menus look like Smash Brothers. The way you unlock things by playing the game is exactly like Smash Brothers. You know, power-ups like Smash Brothers. Large amounts of characters and stuff like Smash Brothers. And Smash Brothers to me works because it might not be a great fighting game in my opinion, but it is a great celebration of video games. There's so many different franchises to choose from. With this game, you're only taking in Kirby stuff. And, you know, Kirby's a great franchise, but I don't feel like there's a lot of like wow moments. And wow, that was so, you know, oh, so cool. I unlocked Banana Waddle Dee, and it's like, you know, it's not quite the same as unlocking Simon Belmont. Even the sounds and the tutorials and everything feels like Smash Brothers, and I don't know, that kind of just bothers me a little bit. Like, I don't really necessarily care for Smash Brothers menus, and to kind of implement that into this game, and I get why, because it's Sakurai, but it just feels kind of weird. Like, let Kirby Air Riders kind of be its own thing. And, you know, I don't necessarily hate the game. I don't think it's, like, the worst game ever. But I can honestly say, after playing this game for a long time on Thursday, I played this game all freaking day. All the different modes, all the races, all the different stuff. It's not a game for me. Like, it's not a game that I am like, okay, I paid $70 for this. I'm happy with my purchase. Because I'm honestly not. Like, there are just too many things that I don't really care for with the game. I don't really care for the racing. I don't like the way the racing feels. And yes, you might not think it's a racing game, but it kind of is. And I just feel like, you know, it's a game that could sputter out over time. They are planning events for this, much like Smash Brothers, of course. So maybe that'll give some longevity to it. But I feel like, you know, for me, I'll play it for a couple more days and then like I'm done with it. Like I've seen what I needed to see. It's fun in small doses, and I probably will come back to City Trial once in a while because I do think that mode is really good. But I just don't, you know, it's not a great game to me. It's a game that you could have some fun and small little bursts, depending. I mean, if you're a diehard Kirby fan, like, yeah, you're gonna love this game. If you were one of the people who love the original Kirby Air Riders, yeah, you're gonna love this game. But like seeing people compare it to like Mario, oh, this is better than Mario Kart, and it's like, no, it's not. Like, just stop it. Like, Mario Kart is at least a racing game at its core. This is more of a party style game, and like, it's not that I'm bad at the game or anything. You'll see here, I win this little event here. I am number one. I am the champion. I took out these people and absolutely destroyed them and hopefully made them regret their purchase of the game. But they don't have to worry about me staying around for too long. It's mediocre. You know, it looks decent, but not great. The music's good. I like the music. I don't really care for the way the game feels. I think the modes are nice. They give you a decent variety, but overall, not a game I fully recommend. Let me know in the comments, though. What do you think about this? I'm sure there will be people wanting to murder me over this because, God, I don't like Kirby Air Riders, but, I mean, I got to keep it real with you guys. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, or dislike, I guess, you know. I'm sure there will be quite a few dislikes on this video as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.